Hey y'all, so excited about our project. In March, we are going to be collaborating with MLK High School, McGavick High School, and schools in Lexington, Kentucky on MOCA MAC, this project that we're going to do at Turnip Green Creative Reuse that we also have here at TSU. Each of you is going to be coming to Turnip Green and spending the next little bit thinking about a project from this book, bringing specific ideas from a specific project, 9 different projects, and what Turnip Green is up to, and what you think MOCA MAC should become for this exhibit. For instance, Drea is going to be looking at In Transit, a project by architects and researchers, Havard Brevik Khan, Tom Selmer Olsen, and they work at the In Transit studio at the Oslo School of Architecture and Design. And it says briefly, how do mobility and migration inform ways in which we shape our cities? How can the design of social infrastructure and new ways of living contribute to diverse, tolerant, and inclusive neighborhoods? So that's just a little bit of what they're into, and then there's several pages, and Drea's going to look into this. And then she's going to synthesize that, integrate it into her thoughts about MOCA MAC and what's happening at Turnip Green, and then she's going to give us some feedback. Maria is going to be looking at Startblock Esselhagen, which is a new model for co-living in the increasingly diverse city of Amsterdam. The affordable housing block was designed to create community among Dutch youth and young refugees who have recently received resident permits. The young people ages 18 to 28 live together while they work and attend school, learning and help each other as they begin life in a vibrant city. So what is Maria going to find in the Netherlands with this project and ways in which they're reimagining this part of the city for young folks? Shamar is going to be looking at the teeter-totter wall. So for less than an hour on July 28th, 2019, 2 communities long separated by an imposing steel wall came together to play on an oversized teeter-totter spanning the U.S.-Mexico border. Designed in the United States and fabricated in Mexico, the 3 units were painted high-contrast pink, prompted by the memorials to murdered women in Ciudad Juarez, where there is an ongoing femicide epidemic. So what is what is Shamar going to bring to us with this really interesting project, this kind of cross-border project, in ways in which thinking about connecting with Turnip Green and also what the MOCA MAC project does. Rayvon is going to be looking at the beautiful Trouble Toolbox, Nadine Block and Andrew Boyd. The blending of art and protest is nothing new. Tactical pranks go back at least as far as the Trojan horse. Fools, clowns, and carnivals have always played a subversive role, while art, culture, and creative protests have for centuries served as fuel and foundation for successful social movements. Contemporary global campaigns such as Black Lives Matter and Extinction Rebellion are taking protest to another level. Creativity and possibilities for reframing social action are amplified by internet connection and fed by urgency of multiple existence level crisis, from memes and virtual sit-ins to media pranks and viral campaigns. The need to mobilize and the will to do so have increased exponentially. So what is Rayvon going to bring through his research to us in relationship to what MOCA MAC could be, what Turnip Green's up to? Jovion's going to be looking at the universality through visual symbols. Lee Davis. The decades following World War II were years of growing international cooperation, telecommunication, trade, and air travel, but they were also an era of heightened conflict, nuclear proliferation, political division, racial inequity, and environmental degradation. With increasing globalization, new channels and methods of communication were necessary if cross-cultural communication, international cooperation, mutual understanding, and peace were to be achieved. In the summer of 1968, American anthropologist Margaret Mead and Austrian-American graphic designer Rudolf Modley called for a system of universally understood pictographic symbols, or glyphs, with the goal of facilitating worldwide communication. The need for such glyphs was so urgent, they argued, that without them, hungry, frightened, confused people will continue to contribute to the situation and hostility in which many human communities live today. So what is Jovian going to bring to us as a graphic designer who's also looking at this kind of very important historical moment in the history of graphic design and our global culture? What is he going to bring to this idea that we're working at with MOCA MAC and Turnip Green? Brooklyn is going to be looking at Conflict Kitchen. Conflict Kitchen is a takeout restaurant in Pittsburgh. It served cuisine from all nations with which the United States was in conflict between 2010 and 2017, from Afghanistan to North Korea. It was open 7 days a week. It rotated identities in relationship to geopolitical events. Each iteration of the restaurant was accompanied by publications, performances, discussions, and other events that expanded public engagement with the culture, politics, and issues at stake in the various regions. Interviews with people living in the focus country were printed on the back of food wrappers. Crowdsourced speeches one's people wished President Obama would deliver were distributed during the Iran and Cuba projects, and they doubled as scripts for an Obama impersonator who delivered remarks in front of the kitchen. An annotated North Korean cookbook and a book of interviews with Palestinian children were published. In a program series called The Foreigner, customers were invited to eat lunch with a resident of the focus country via an avatar, a local Pittsburgh resident who relayed questions between the parties in real time. So what is Brooklyn going to find out about Conflict Kitchen and the design and food and culinary approach to thinking about community and ways in which to resolve conflict? What is she going to bring to our conversations with MOCA MAC and Turnip Green Creative Reuse? Erin is looking at designing for urban inclusivity by who's with Shalina Odbert. So from the moment it emerged, COVID-19 has brought a wide set of systematic inequities into sharp focus. For those who are subject to them, these inequities were already a defining part of daily life. Shalina Odbert is the co-founder and executive director of Conquey Design Initiative, Kounkuey Design Initiative. An urban planner by training, she focuses on equity in the built environment in her practice, writing, and teaching. Public space is not part of the community experience for many women, since for them, parks, plazas, sidewalks, and transportation systems tend to range from uninviting to potentially dangerous. And so looking at this, what is Erin going to find that's helpful in this research and the ways in which we can make sure that Turnip Green Creative Reuse and our MOCA MAC project across MLK, across McGavick, in Lexington, Kentucky, here at TSU, what can Erin bring from her research in addition to Turnip Green to the project? Zarin is looking at Blue, the architecture of UN peace missions. There are hundreds of UN nations peacekeeping missions in conflict-affected regions around the world. Their bases are generally engineered to be self-sustaining islands, walled off from their surroundings, and doing little to improve the lives of local inhabitants. Growing recognition of interplay between peace development and conflict prevention, coupled with mounting calls within the UN for inclusive cross-pillar long-term approaches, have stimulated new ways of thinking about physical and technological footprint of peacekeeping operations. And so Zarin's going to be looking at ways in which the UN is thinking about architecture to not just be a stopgap, but actually think about some sustainability. And so what is that going to do in relationship to our MOCA MAC project, and thinking about when we are building these units that a business might take or another nonprofit besides Turnip Green might take, what do those look like, and how can we make sure that we are thinking about the community that we're connecting to? So if you're watching this, you might be part of this project. You might be a community member, you might be a student at MLK, or you might be a student at TSU who's not in my arts and social practice class, or you might be a student at Missy Lindsay's classes at McGavick High School. And so these are the projects that my students are researching from this really cool book that I got from the bookshop in Nashville. And so you could probably find it there or on their website. Support your local bookshops. And we hope that you will dive in with us and think about ways that MOCA MAC can impact your immediate art ecosystem as well as the larger Nashville art ecosystem, and create opportunities and a replicable model for communities outside of Nashville as well.